What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the JjLee Hockey Show. This is JjLee here. I apologize that I've not had the show in 2 weeks now or 3 weeks now because last week was spring break, and then 2 weeks ago I wasn't feeling great, so I didn't do it. But I'm back now, and I wanted to. So 2 weeks ago was supposed to be the trade deadline talk because that's obviously it was right after the trade deadline, and I I wasn't feeling great, like I said, so I ended up not doing it, but. I still wanted to do what I was going to talk about that day because I know it's like 2.5 weeks after the fact now, but the trade deadline is just such a big deal. We saw some major trades happen, and the trades aren't going to change. When you give opinions on certain things at the time, like predictions or whatever, uh, then like if I was predicting the trades, then yeah, I couldn't really do that now. But by this point, but the trades themselves like still aren't going to change. So just give my opinions on them, and I'm going to kind of give a little insight on, like what the players have done on their new team so far. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's not wait any longer because it's 2 weeks overdue. Like I said, we saw Trent Frederick trade to the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers received Trent Frederick 75% of the 75% salary retained, along with Max Jones and Peter Hauser. The Bruins received Max Wayner and a 2025 second round pick, and from the sorry a 2025 second round pick from the which belongs to the Blues initially, and the Oilers 2026 fourth round pick. So, and then the Devils receive the Devils are the third team. I need to lock in here. The Devils as a third team receive Shane Lachance from for retaining 25% of Frederick's salary. He's mostly Boston, or he's a Boston University forward, so not really done anything in NHL yet. I'm not really familiar with him. Um, Bruins, I think giving up a guy like Frederick, not the most talented guy, but still a very good addition to your bottom six, very gritty. So getting a second round pick and a fourth round pick, I think is great. Wayner's mostly a minor leaguer, so I mean, I don't want to say like he's not going to do anything for them, but kind of in the air. But I think getting a second round pick for a guy like Frederick's great. And for the Oilers, getting Trent Frederick, he's the type of guy. He's the type of guy you want in the playoffs. Very gritty, plays kind of a hard nosed style. Um, great. Like I said, bottom six player, great for depth. And they get Jones has been kind of an up and down guy from the minors to the NHL. Peter Hauser is a 21-year-old in Czechia. I think Edmonton just got his rights, but the key piece here is Trent Frederick, and I think that's a great addition for the Oilers. Moving on, we saw an extension from initially reported by Renaud Lavoie. The Montreal Canadiens re-signed Jake Evans to a 4-year contract worth $2.85 million. This season, Frederick has 69 games played, 12 goals, 19 assists for 31 points, and in his career, 337 games played, 39 goals, 84 assists for 123 points. So Jake Evans is another great guy to have as a depth role. Obviously, not like a key contributor, like as far as like being a top six guy, but I think for a bottom sixer to have on your third or fourth line is a great guy. The money too, just 2.85 million a year, I think is great. I believe he's 28 years old, I want to say. So 4 years takes him until he's 32. I really like this contract for the Canadiens. Great depth piece for depth scoring and stuff, and I think the money and term is amazing for them. Moving on, we have another huge trade that happened. Yanni Gordon, Oliver Borkstrand trades to the Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Oliver Borkstrand, Yanni Gord, and a 2026 fifth round pick. And the Seattle Kraken acquired Mikey Easemont, a 2026 first round pick, a 2027 first round pick, and a 2025 second round pick. I think this is a great trade for both teams. Obviously, Lightning are still all in. They've had, after looking like they were regressive the past couple of years, they've bounced back this season. I mean, they were still a good team the past couple of years, but they were looking like they're kind of regressing, no more than first round exit. Now this year they're looking like a legit contender again, an actual scary team again. We saw from Lightning GM Julian Breezeball quote, "I'd rather have a lot full of good players than a bang ton of draft picks." So showing that they're still all in, they're still willing to give up draft picks and prospects for players right now, because their window is still now, and probably will start to regress in the next couple of years. So I think this is a great all-in move for the Lightning. Obviously, Yanni Gourde, former Lightning before he got picked by Seattle in the expansion draft in 2021, won 2 cups with them, and it's still a good guy having the middle six. Same with Bjorkstrand. This season, Yanni Gourde has 45 games played, 6 goals, 17 assists for 23 points, and since the trade in 9 games played, he has 0 goals but 6 assists for 6 points, so 6 points in 9 games total. Then in the past 3 seasons, he's had just as an overall how he's done recent years. Past 3 seasons, 206 games played, 31 goals, 73 assists for 104 points. So a very good middle sixer for the Lightning. Obviously, his role won't be as big as in Seattle because Lightning have a lot more talent, but he will be a UFA this offseason, so we'll see if the Lightning resign him. But I think given their state right now, being an all-in team with a not kind of blurry future right now, I'd say is a good move. They also get Oliver Bjorkstrand, who's also going to be a good second or third liner. This season, 70 games played, 17 goals, 22 assists for 39 points. Since the trade, he has just 1 goal and 1 assist for 2 points in 9 games, but I think maybe you might have to give him some time. Some players take a little bit of time to adjust. Obviously, most of these teams like stacking up at the deadline are pretty safely in a playoff spot unless they were completely fall off. So I'd say as long as these players are going by the playoffs, it's good. The past 3 seasons for Bjorkstrand, 233 games played, 57 goals, 86 assists for 143 points. He'll have one more year after this year though in his contract, so he won't be a rental like a lot of players at the deadline. So I think these are some great additions for Tampa. On the other side, Seattle acquires Mikey Eyssimont this season with 66 games played, 7 goals, 6 assists for 13 points, and since the trade, 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points in 9 games. So, I mean, the Kraken kind of take him on as the Lightning had to get rid of him to get Gourde and Bjorkstrand, but obviously the main thing for the Kraken is the first. You get 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. So I think I really like this trade for both sides. Kraken obviously kind of in a no man's land right now, get some draft picks to try and retool or rebuild, and the Lightning obviously all in right now get some more pieces to stack up their team, and their forward core is looking lethal now. We next saw Vitek Vanecek traded to the Florida Panthers. The Panthers acquired Vitek Vanecek, and the Sharks acquired Patrick Gillies. Vanecek this season has a .883 save percentage and a 3.75 goals against average. Past 3 years, 105 games played, a .898 save percentage, and a 2.93 goals against average. And since the trade, 3 games played, a .894 save percentage, and a 3.04 goals against average. Shut out in his first game in Florida, which was nice to see, but still not looking too promising. Game against the Caps the other day, he let in 6 goals. Some of them were bad defensive plays by Panthers, but it is sad because obviously I like him and stuff. Obviously, he started off on the Caps, and it looked like he had a bright future, but he just never really panned out, never got going. He gets traded to New Jersey and had a really good season in 2022-23. People are thinking, okay, maybe he's finally found his footing. Maybe he finally will break out, but then the following year just kind of went back down. I think he'll still be a good backup, but I think by this point, the hope that he'll be a starter eventually is kind of gone, unfortunately. But I don't see him being any more of a backup. But yeah, and then Gillies has 1 goal in 15 NHL games that came in, and that's come in 6 games that he's played since the trade for San Jose. I don't really know much about him. I'm going to be honest. So yeah, I think for Florida, add some goaltending depth. And all I really have to say, not really giving up much in Gillies, just kind of a bottom depth guy for the Sharks. Maybe he can do something for them, finally get some opportunity in San Jose where there's not as much talent as Florida already. But yeah, I think this is a good addition for Florida, though. Definitely always good to have a good, reliable backup. Not that I just said Vanecek's not that good. I think he can be a good backup, just not the starter that we thought he could become. Moving on, we saw Michael Bunting trade to Nashville Predators. The Predators acquire Michael Bunting and 2026 fourth round pick, and the Penguins acquire Luke Schenn and Tommy Novak. Bunting this season, 64 games played, 15 goals, 15 assists for 30 points, and since the trade, 6 games played, 1 goal, and 0 assists for 1 point. Past 3 seasons, 227 games played, 57 goals, 77 assists for 134 points. See, 2 years, I mean, 3 years ago, geez, it's been 3 years since he was a rookie. He was still considered a rookie on the Maple Leafs, and it looks like, I mean, remember he came third in Calder voting. It looked like he might be a future stud, but it just never really happened that way. He's still a good player, but not the top 6 guy that we thought he could become. Um, then Novak, going to the Predators, sorry, to the Penguins from the Predators, gets has 54 games played this year, 13 goals, 9 assists for 22 points. Throughout his 4-year career, has had 203 games played, 49 goals, 68 assists for 117 points. Bottom 6 guy. He's currently out day to day though, so he's injured, but he should be back soon. The only thing is, I will say, is that this trade, I don't understand it too much for the other side. The Predators also, sorry, the Penguins also acquired Luke Schenn, who they then flipped to Winnipeg for a second round pick and a fourth round pick. So that's a good deal for them, but I don't know, it just doesn't really. Maybe it's just a trade I didn't really see coming. Like, I didn't really see either of these teams acquiring any players at this deadline because neither of them are very good. So just seeing this happen, kind of a swap of players, which I guess I did kind of have that opinion before Luke Schenn got traded to the they got flipped to the Jets. So it makes more sense now, but I still kind of thought, it just was a kind of, it was just kind of an odd trade to me. Maybe that's just me, but it was just a little bit of an odd trade. But yeah, speaking of Luke Schenn, they trade him off to the Jets, and that trade, the Penguins acquired a 2026 second round pick and a 2027 fourth round pick in exchange. Schenn this season has 67 games played, 1 goal, 5 assists for 6 points. Obviously, he is a defenseman though, and he's bringing a lot of experience to the Jets, who are trying to get a cup this year, one of the best teams in the league, fighting for the President's Trophy, and he has over 1,000 games of experience. Has won 2 cups with the Lightning, so good addition for the Jets. I think the Penguins also getting a second round pick in exchange from are good too, so they make good use of this trade from Nashville. But yeah, just kind of an interesting sequence in my opinion of trades, but I think it did work. It makes the least sense for the Predators to me. I think the Penguins and the Jets made good use of it, but the Predators just acquiring Bunting is a little. I don't want to say confusing, but I hope you guys get what I mean. It just wasn't one that I thought really was. I thought the Predators were for sure selling completely at the deadline. Next, we saw some unfortunate news for Caps fans like me. We saw Jacob Vrana claimed off waivers by the Nashville Predators. Vrana this season has 31 games played, 8 goals, 4 assists for 12 points since being claimed off waivers. 5 games for the Predators, 1 goal, 0 assists for 1 point. Obviously, Caps fans were so excited to see him back this year. He's had kind of a rough couple of years. Kind of his career kind of fell off, and we were really hoping that he'd get back on track in Washington. He seems so excited to be back, but just never seemed to get into the lineup with. I mean, granted, the Caps have been rolling so much all year that you don't really want to mess with the chemistry, but he seemed good when he was in the lineup. So it's a shame that he couldn't get more of an opportunity. Obviously, like I said, Caps were so excited to see him back. He was so excited to be back, but I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't always work out in the fairy tale ending all the time. He is getting more opportunity in Nashville now, hopefully. So I hope he can get his career back on track. He's a free agent after this year, so we'll see where he signs. But more than anything, I hope that wherever he ends up, he can get his career back on track because he showed so much potential, and then I think a lot of off-ice stuff happened with him, so he kind of fell off. But hopefully, he's gotten that fixed now, and he can finally get on a team that will give him the opportunity and help him get his career back on track. Next we saw the Utah Hockey Club re-sign Karel Vejmelka, 5 years, $4.75 million a year. This season, Vejmelka has 40 games played, a .907 save percentage, and 2.53 goals against average. His 4-year career, 187 games played, a .900 save percentage, and a 3.42 goals against average. I'd say he's kind of an underrated goalie. I don't think he's an elite starter or anything, but he can be kind of a low-end starter or a good backup, in my opinion. Yeah, he's had a few like streaks, I guess, or spurts over the past couple years where he was really good. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's like a reliable starter or anything, but I think he is a little underrated as far as being a good backup. Next, we have I'm actually gonna take a sip of water real quick. Sorry about that. Next, we have Brian Dumoulin traded to the New Jersey Devils. The Devils acquire Brian Dumoulin, and the Ducks acquire Herman Trapp and a 2025 second-round pick. Dumoulin this season has 69 games played, 2 goals, 17 assists for 19 points. Since the trade, 8 games played, 0 goals for 3 assists and 3 points. So he also does have decent defensive numbers for a solid second pair guy. So not gonna be like the top guy for the Devils, obviously, but he's gonna be he could make a difference being a good secondary defenseman. Excuse me. Yeah, just excuse me. Sorry about that. Just got back from lunch before this, but I think that just since I'm talking about the Devils right now, though, I don't really see them doing much in the playoffs, especially they're not doing well right now. They lost Jack Hughes for the year. Dougie Hamilton's injured too now. I just don't really see them. I can't see them getting past Carolina in the first round because that's likely who they're going to play. Or if they fall to a wild card spot, I couldn't see them being Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Washington. I think they've got potential. Like over the next 10 years, like they should be good or maybe not quite 10 years, but for several years they should be one of the better teams. But this season it was supposed to be a bounce back year for them, which I'd say that they've got the skill, but there's just I think injuries are the biggest thing for this team because they just can't catch a break injury wise. Last year when they missed the playoffs, it was considered a disappointing season. But you have to remember Jack Hughes was injured for a majority of it. Or not majority, but for a good portion. I believe he played 67 games, so that's like a quarter of the season. Dougie Hamilton missed almost the entire season, so I think injuries are just really hurting this team. But we'll see. I am a believer that you can't count any teams out in the playoffs fully, so I don't think the Devils are going to do much, but we'll see. But you never know with the Stanley Cup playoffs. Getting back to the trades, though, the Ducks acquire Herman Trapp, which 2024 91st overall pick, hasn't played an NHL or AHL game. I've never heard of him. I'm going to be honest, but they get a second round pick too. I'd say it's a fair deal for a guy like Dumoulin. Next, we saw Riley Smith trade to Vegas. Obviously, one of the original Vegas Golden Knights, played there for 6 years, won the Cup with them in 2023. Then they had to trade him because they couldn't afford him and stuff. But almost 2 years later, head back to Vegas. The Golden Knights acquire Riley Smith, and the Rangers acquire Brendan Bryson and 2025 third round pick. Smith this season has 67 games played, 10 goals, 22 assists for 32 points, and since the trade, 9 games played, 0 goals, 3 assists for 3 points. So kind of slow since the trade, but I think maybe just like I said with all the others, give him a chance, give him time. We've seen what he's capable of doing. He's put up 128 points in 221 games over the past 3 years. So we've seen what he's capable of doing in Vegas, where he's already familiar with. So I think he will eventually get back on track. Next, we saw defenseman Carson Soucy trade to New York Rangers. The Rangers acquire Carson Soucy, and the Canucks acquire a 2025 third-round pick. Soucy this season has 65 games played, 4 goals, 9 assists for 13 points, and since the trade, 6 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. defenseman, so looking more at defensive numbers. And his defensive numbers are a little concerning, but I think he does produce okay offense for a defenseman. So he still will be a solid depth addition for the Rangers this as they try and make a push for the playoffs. Obviously, they're really fighting for a wild card spot right now. So the guys in the depth guys really will be important for them as they try and make the playoffs. Moving on to another major trade that happened, Brock Nelson trades the Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche acquired Brock Nelson and William Dufour, and the Islanders in exchange get Callum Ritchie, Oliver Kylington, a 2026 first round pick, and a 2028 third round pick. This season, Nelson has 69 games played, 23 goals, 26 assists for 49 points. Past 3 seasons, 233 games played, 93 goals, 100 assists for 193 points. And since the trade, 8 games played, 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. So he's already doing really well in Colorado. He'll be a great second line forward or center for the Avalanche. Obviously, they've been missing that since Nazem Kadri left in 2022. They got Casey Milstead and everything. He didn't work out for them, but I think that Nelson really well fit that role as the Avalanche head into the playoffs, looking like a dangerous team once again. He will be a UFA after this year, so there's a good chance he's a rental for Colorado. But I think that I think it's worth it. I think they're all in now. I think he will be a great second line center for them. As for the Islanders, obviously they've had their view as having one of the darkest futures in the league, so they try and get some good pieces for the future. Callum Ritchie, who's a good prospect. Kylington was traded to Anaheim shortly after for future considerations. I think he was just a cap dump for the Avalanche to get Nelson. And the Islanders also acquire a 2026 first round pick and a 2028 third round pick. So they get first round pick, third round pick, and a good prospect for Nelson, which I think is a great deal for them. Obviously, Nelson was a longtime Islander, so always a shame to see a longtime player get traded like this, but it was clearly the move the Islanders needed to make. They've been looking like they're in no man's land. Like, the best they can do is maybe a first round exit, but they've just looked they've been very uninteresting for a few years now, and they're now going to what was I saying? They've been very uninteresting for a few years now, and they're now going to probably not be a good team probably for the rest of the decade, unless they really make some good moves. So I think this is a good start, though. Moving on, we see Jake Wallman traded to Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers acquire Jake Wallman, and the San Jose Sharks in exchange get a 2026 first round pick and a 2020. I mean, sorry, not a draft pick. They get Carl Berglund. I can't talk right now. Berglund's yet to play in the NHL. Yet to play an NHL game at 25 years old. I think, I don't really think he's going to do much by this point, but Sharks are taking on contracts, get draft picks, maybe see if those players they take on can surprise them and stuff and everything. So the Sharks get a first round pick for for Wallman. I think that's a good deal. And Wallman this season has really been having under the radar good defenseman. 58 games played, 6 goals, 30 assists for 36 points. Since the trade, has 4 assists in 8 games, and his career he has 184 games played, 27 goals, 48 assists for 75 points. So he's turned into a solid top 4 defenseman for that Edmonton's acquiring, and obviously Oilers are considered to be one of the top all-in teams this year. So getting him is a great addition for them. Getting stronger on the blue line. His defensive numbers are okay, but still he'll be a great addition for them on the in the D-core. Next, we saw my Capitals make a trade. They acquire Anthony Beauvillier from the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a 2025 second round pick. Beauvillier this season has 70 games played, 15 goals, 9 assists for 24 points. Over the past 3 seasons, 212 games played, 38 assists, 43 goals, and 81 points. And since the trade, he has seven games played, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. So he's been good for them. I don't expect he's a UFA after this year. I don't expect them to re-sign him afterward, but I think that I think that they got him just intending for him to be a rental, and I think that the what was it? I think he will be a good guy for the bottom six. Whether he's playing on the fourth line with Dowd and Duhaime or on the third line with Eller um like Mangiapane or Raj. Basically, those guys all get alternated. So I'm not I'm not exactly sure who's going to be on the line with him night in night out because they do change quite a bit. But yeah, I've liked some of the stuff he's done. Like he has a couple of assists already. He had a nice goal the other night against Florida on showing off his speed, getting past the defensemen. So I like what he's done, what he's brought to his team, and for a second round pick, I think it's fair. But yeah, it is kind of funny because I remember when he was on the Islanders and he kind of tormented the Caps at times. Then then obviously he was on the Penguins this past year. He's bounced around so much. He's been on the Canucks, the Blackhawks. Um, I forget where else because he's been traded so many times. But yeah, probably a rental for the Caps. But I've liked what I've seen from him so far. Moving on, probably the biggest trade to talk about from this deadline, the Florida Panthers acquired Brad Marchand from the Boston Bruins in exchange for a 2027 conditional second round pick. If the Panthers make it to the conference finals, then Marchand plays at least half of the games, then it becomes a 2028 first round pick. So I personally think that the Bruins should have gotten more from Marchand. It says there's this year his stats this year have are 61 games played, 21 goals, 26 assists, and 47 points. Past 3 seasons, 216 games played, 71 goals, 110 assists for 181 points. But he has kind of been showing signs of regression. He is 36 years old, so in 2020 and 2023 he was on 75 point pace, 2024 67 point pace, and 2025 63 point pace. So he is he is definitely showing signs of regression. He's not a two. He's still a decent two-way forward, but not a two-way Selke level guy he was like in 2021 and 2022. But I think the Bruins should have at least gotten a guaranteed first round pick for him. Because I think he is still a very good first line guy. We've seen players worse than him get the team a first round pick. So I definitely think it should have been a guaranteed first round pick for the Bruins. But yeah, I'm kind of mixed on obviously I know the Bruins kind of had to do this. They're clearly going into a retool when he's getting older, but it just seems like the way it all happened was a little disrespectful. Like Marchand was willing to make a lot of things work out with them, and it seems like they just were not interested at all. But I guess because also, like I just said, you're not they didn't get I feel like the return that he was worth too. So like I see it as a little disrespectful, but obviously it is business and it's what you gotta do for your team for your franchise and for your team. So yeah, Brad Marchand's obviously still injured right now, not playing for the Panthers yet, but he'll be back soon probably. And just saying Brad Marchand is a Florida Panther feels so weird because he's been on the Bruins for so long. The Bruins and Panthers have had a rivalry the past couple of years, so obviously, um, obviously feels weird to see. It'll definitely be weird to see him in a Panthers jersey, but it's a new era now for Marchand's career, and we'll see what he does in Florida. I'm going to take a break now, play music for a bit, and I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, I'm back. I'm going to just continue talking about the trades now. Next, we saw Dylan Cousins trade for Josh Norris. The Ottawa Senators acquired Dylan Cousins and Dennis Gilbert, as well as a 2026 second-round pick in exchange. The Sabres acquired Josh Norris and Jacob Bernard-Docker. Cousins this season has 69 games played, 14 goals, 24 assists for 38 points, and since the trade, 8 games played, 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points, and he's overall just he's looked like he had potential. Looked like he had a promising future and stuff, but never was it really able to take the next step and everything. So maybe a change of scenery in Ottawa will help him. The Ottawa's obviously a upcoming team. Finally, looks like they'll make the playoffs this year through a wild card spot. So got some talent around him and stuff. I think I like this trade for Ottawa and for Cousins. Um, and then and then Gilbert this season has 5 assists in 26 games played. He's only played 1 game since the trade, so he's kind of like a scratch a lot. Um, but yeah, Cousins for sure, definitely gonna be a great addition for Ottawa. I think it's great for him. So then you look at the Sabres side of things. Josh Norris, 56 games played this year, 21 goals, 14 assists for 35 points, and since the trade, 3 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. I think obviously Norris has had a tough time with injuries and everything. Never like Cousins looks like he has a great future in Ottawa, but never really panned out. So both get a swap, get a change of scenery, and I think it's a good deal for both players, both those two players, Cousins and Norris. And then the Sabres also acquired Jacob Bernard-Docker for the season. Um, sorry, this season has 27 games played, 1 goal, 5 assists for 6 points. Has 2 assists in 2 games since the trade. But yeah, just you got. I think Bernard-Docker and Gilbert are going to be some more like minor pieces. Mostly, this trade is for Cousins and Norris, which I think is great for both teams. Both teams are trying to make the playoffs or finally get back to the playoffs. Obviously, Buffalo's cooked once again this year, but Ottawa's looking like they'll make it, and both players are still relatively young, so haven't really been able to take the next step. Maybe and with a change of scenery, they finally will be able to. Um, Next, we saw Brandon Tanev trade to the Jets for a 2027 second-round pick. Tanev this season has 68 games played, 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points, and since the trade, 8 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. So another guy who's going to be a very good bottom six like grit guy, adding depth to the roster. Obviously he started out in Winnipeg. Um, a great depth addition for the Jets. And yeah, don't think there's much else to say there. I think just he'll be a great depth addition for the Jets in the playoffs, and I think cracking in a second round pick for him is great. Then we see Scott Lawton trade to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs acquired Scott Lawton and a fourth round pick and a sixth round pick. I never found what year it was, but yeah, basically a fourth and a sixth. Then the Flyers acquire a 2027 conditional first round pick and Nikita Gribenkin. I'm not too familiar with him. Lawton this season, 68 games played, 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 points. Has 0 points so far since the trade, but in 8 games. But I think that he is more. I mean, I think his production will go up a little bit as he gets more comfortable. But he's a little more of that once again middle sixer who brings more grit to the team. Not necessarily known for producing a lot of high offense numbers, but he brings a lot of grit to the team. He'll help them in the playoffs, especially for the Maple Leafs, who seem to always need grit in the playoffs. I think he's a great addition for them. Then we saw Mikko Rantanen trade to the Dallas Stars. Obviously, got traded to Carolina like less than 2 months ago, and it didn't really work out. He didn't want to resign there, so they trade him to the Dallas Stars, where he signs a 8-year extension worth $12 million a year, which I think is a good deal. Rantanen's obviously one of the best wingers in the league, and with the cap going up especially, I thought the $14 million that he wanted was a little too much, but I'd say $12 million is fair for 8 years. This season, Rantanen has 69 games played, 29 goals, 45 assists for 74 points, And since the trade, 7 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. So he's still a little underproducing, but I'd say give him time. He seems to like being in Dallas. Has had over 100 points each of the past 2 seasons, so in both 2023 and 2024. Still, same way he's one of the best wingers in the league, and he's a great addition for Dallas. They're dangerous as always, but now he's locked up for 8 years, and he's going to be great for them during that time. In exchange, the Hurricanes acquired Logan Stankoven, a 2026 first-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2026 third-round pick, and a 2027 third-round pick. So they get an absolute haul for Rantanen, which I think another trade I think is great both ways. Dallas getting one of the best wingers in the league. The Hurricanes get 4 draft picks and a good young player in Stankoven. Stankoven this season has 66 games played, 10 goals, 23 assists for 33 points. Since the trade, 7 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points. So obviously this makes Carolina worse this year on paper, but I think it's still going to be great for them. It's going to be better for them long term since Rantanen wasn't interested in re-signing. They get a guy who's still pretty young and 4 draft picks. Now I said it makes them worse on paper because they're still rolling right now, and I think they'll still be a dangerous team come playoff time. But I think this was a smart move for them, knowing that okay, Rantanen does not want to resign here. We're going to trade him so that we don't lose him for nothing. Next, we saw Charlie Coyle traded to the Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche acquired Charlie Coyle and 2026 fifth-round pick. In exchange, Bruins acquired Casey Middlestat, William Zellers, and a 2025 second-round pick. Coyle this season has 72 games played, 9 goals, 15 assists for 24 points. So not the guy he used to be necessarily, but he is still going to be a good third-line center. So now the Avalanche, who've had trouble with center depth the past couple of years, have McKinnon, Nelson, and Coyle at center, which is great for them. I think Bruins getting Middlestat, a guy who's trying to get his career going. I mean, he's been good, but he has kind of been underwhelming. So trying to live up to expectations, I guess is a better way to say it. And second round pick, I think is good for the Bruins. And Avalanche are once again getting that forward depth back that they've lacked since they won their cup in 2022. Next, we saw Dallas Stars re-sign Wyatt Johnston to a 5-year, $8.4 million contract. Amazing deal. He probably could have gone up to $10 million because this season he has he has 25 goals, 37 assists for 62 points and 69 games played, and is still just 21 years old. Amazing future for this kid. He should be a star for the Stars. And at 8, what was it again? At $8.4 million, especially too, that's amazing. Especially the cap's going to go up a good amount over the next 5 years, so it's become less and less. Just amazing deal for the Stars. Not much more to say. Absolute steal for them of a contract. Next, we saw Erik Johnson trade back to the Avalanche. Obviously, they had to let him go a couple years ago for money, but he's back on the Avalanche now. He's going to be a solid second pair guy for them. Their decor is looking great once again. The Avalanche have had have been very top heavy the past couple of years since they won their cup, but they've really gotten a good goalie in Mackenzie Blackwood, added on their decor, added on their forwards, and they're looking like a really dangerous team once again. And then finally, because I'm just about out of time, Brandon Carlo traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs acquire Carlo, Bruins acquire a 2026 first-round pick in Fraser Minton. Another good second pair guy for the Maple Leafs. Crazy the Bruins trade Marchand, Carlos, and Maple Leafs and Panthers. But that's it now. Sorry, I'm out of time. But thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.